I'm doing a painting in my sketchbook using a palette knife. This is a picture that Sarah Burns Studio posted on her Instagram. She started a Paint This in Your Style challenge, and so that's what I'm going to be painting today. I think the sky was probably the hardest part of this painting. Painting clouds with a palette knife is not easy, especially when you're painting on something that's not a completely flat surface. I got my sketchbook to lay pretty flat, but because it's still in a binding, it does have a rounded surface. So when you're trying to spread the paint around and make something look soft like clouds, it's extremely challenging. And I think in the end my clouds definitely look more like mountains in the distance, which, you know, I'm okay with it. I think it still looks fine. But that was definitely one thing that I didn't anticipate whenever I decided to paint this in my sketchbook. Something that would have probably made my life a lot easier is if I had a palette knife that came to a sharper point. All of my palette knives have a rounded tip. So even though this one has a longer blade on it, the tip is still rounded. So whenever I start trying to get sharp edges or, you know, line work or anything, it's just really hard to get the paint to lay down in that line. Even whenever I turn my blade on its side and try to use the side, it seems to kind of blob off the end because the end is rounded. So I definitely think having a palette knife with a sharper tip on it would be very useful. So I think right around here is when I wanted to quit. I did not like this painting at all. I was unhappy with it. It was definitely in the ugly stage. And the thing about the ugly stage is that it's just a stage. It will go away. It will look better as long as you keep working on it. So, but I definitely came close to just putting this one away and not finishing it because nothing was really going the way that I thought it would. My clouds had turned into a mountain. Using a palette knife, which I've never used before, was just really a struggle almost the entire time. But I'm glad I kept going because as soon as I start painting this tree, I start liking it again. So, and it was that fast. I start painting the water and I'm like, man, I want to quit. And then I'm back to liking my painting again. So, push through the ugly stage, you will come out the other side.